A week passed, and the teacher's students came to class early as a habit. Unlike previous weeks, this week is probably a special week for them. They look forward to the teacher's new lecture on enlightened knowledge associated with energy particles to help them gain a deep and thorough understanding of the knowledge of the two truths. Because the first lesson about the smallest energy particle is strange knowledge to everyone, the desire to discover more about that knowledge has made them more eager than ever. When the students heard the teacher say that special knowledge helped them build a special type of thinking, but they did not clearly understand how to apply it to problems in life, curiosity arose in them. Before the class started, some students asked each other,
"Does anyone know about the special knowledge you mentioned to solve any problem?"
An adult woman immediately answered the young girl's question.
What are you going to class to learn?
I have suffered from hallucinations for many years. I have been treated at the hospital and through rituals, but it has not cured me. When I knew that people were suffering from different mental illnesses, they were cured after learning the teacher's knowledge. Therefore, I would like to ask the teacher to participate in this class to heal body, mind, and wisdom.
The old woman immediately replied,
That's right. His knowledge and classes are to heal the sick body, mind, the ignorant wisdom of people, and the Tuilin. That is knowledge to help people and Tuilins to liberate all suffering. Therefore, I think the special knowledge he discussed is to help us and everyone heal our body, mind, and intellect most thoroughly and effectively.
That would be great, sister. I hope to recover quickly. After many years of living with a mental illness that could not be cured, my intelligence worsened, and I always thought negatively about life. My relatives thought I was pretending to be sick, and they didn't believe what I said. They advised me to find good psychics to perform the ceremony and become a psychic to cure my illness. But when I had to pay a lot for the rituals, my illness did not improve or worsen, so I decided not to follow the psychics anymore.
Try and listen diligently to learn the teacher's knowledge for a long time, and you will be cured. I have witnessed several friends with mental illnesses of varying severity. They only studied and then practiced according to the teacher's knowledge and were cured. They strictly follow the teacher's instructions and do not take psychiatric drugs. That's why they recovered quickly. When they studied, they did not learn special knowledge. They only learned theoretical knowledge from two truths. And we are now learning special knowledge. We and everyone together try to learn to recover from illness and gain enlightenment.
Another student continued,
Healing the body, mind, and intellect with information is strange for everyone, because people only think that knowledge or information helps people have more knowledge and better intellectual thinking. No one thinks that knowledge can cure the diseases of the body and the mind of the soul. His knowledge is a special kind of wisdom.
After enjoying a hot morning tea, the teacher started his new lecture.
Today's lesson will be more complicated than the lesson about the smallest energy particles in the previous lesson. In the last session, you only learned the basics of energy particles. Still, I will detail the internal nature of particles and how it is associated with the two truths. Because the knowledge of energy particles is challenging, I have to divide it into many different lessons so that everyone can easily understand and have a multidimensional and comprehensive view after learning the knowledge of the two truths. Today's lesson is the truth of the universe tied to the smallest particle of energy. That does not mean that the other lessons are not universal truths. It would be best if you remembered that all of my lectures are the truth of the universe and the truth of enlightenment. These two noble truths are analyzed and dissected in many environments, scenarios, situations, interactions, and lessons. You cannot study in one session or in a short time to receive a massive amount of knowledge of the two truths. If you try to force yourself to accept it like that, your soul will be overloaded and confused, leading to losing control of thoughts and actions. You can only receive and absorb enough information to make your soul comfortable and motivated for the long journey ahead. That also creates a lesson for parents, not forcing their children to study day and night. Because when you force them to learn a lot while their souls and young brains are incapable of receiving it, they become confused and lose control of their behavior. Let them have fun and enjoy their childhood while playing and learning. You have no right to force your children to do what you want, because your souls and those of your children are different. Each soul has different intellectual abilities. No one is the same, so you should not force your children to be as talented as you. Souls come to the human world to help each other practice and are not each other's property. Why do I say that? Because it is the essence of the truth of the universe. When I answer that, someone will ask me what I use as a standard to say that it is the truth of the universe. Do you find that question reasonable? It is very practical and precise. I'm sorry anyone asked me that question because I have standards for everything I say. The knowledge of two truths is standard and referenced by understanding the smallest energy particle. When you understand the truth of the universe, you will understand and answer the three things that Tuelins and humans are searching for to gain radical enlightenment. You will understand yourself and others, all things, events, phenomena in life and the universe, and the energy of destruction. You must know that destructive energy is not the energy that makes up groups of matter in the universe, but it is the fuel source for the existence and development of the universe. Its habitat is outside the universe, but it is also found in many places inside the universe. Regarding destructive energy, you should temporarily understand that. In other appropriate lectures, I will analyze destructive energy. You cannot use a simple theory of the truth of the universe to understand the three things that Tuelins and humans are searching for answers to. That is impossible, and the failures of yourselves, of everyone, and my students in past lives are proof of that. Because pure theory will have no accurate reference and no standards to build a superior thinking system, at that time, humans and Tuelins could not decipher the ultimate truth of all things in and out of the universe. For me, this human life is the most wonderful thing. I have found a unique reference and standard to help you decode and thoroughly understand Tuelins, yourselves and all things, events and phenomena in and outside the universe. First, I will analyze the theory of universal truth. You will see its limitations when no standard and magical reference to the smallest energy particle exists. But you will be surprised, even happy, when you know the magic value of knowledge in energy particles associated with the theory of universal truth after being analyzed by me. And now you join me in discovering the truth of the universe with the smallest particle of energy. The theory of the truth of the universe is all things, events, and phenomena in and outside the universe are not created by themselves, and they are not destroyed by themselves. Suffering does not come by itself. It does not go by itself. All are cause and effect. You will find it easy to remember and understand when you hear or read that reasoning about the truth of the universe. After a journey of study and research, you conclude, that's cause and effect. It's like we plant a seed and later receive the fruit of the tree we planted. That is the natural law of all things, Tuelins and humans. I will choose to do good deeds and avoid evil deeds. That proves that learners and readers cannot understand further and cannot discover the truth of all things, events, and phenomena in and outside the universe. They only understand one simple thing: do good deeds and avoid evil deeds. But they need help understanding why they should do so. They cannot understand their true nature, their souls, and others. They are entirely incomprehensible. Do you see that the theory of universal truth is good and beneficial to everyone? It is a good theory and valuable to everyone because it helps people have the mindset of doing good deeds and staying away from evil deeds because of cause and effect. They look at other people and things the same way. Everything is created by cause and effect, and nothing is natural. The same goes for their suffering, that of others, and all things. Thus, the theory of universal truth is excellent because it brings moral value to people so they can try to build according to that moral value. But people will need help understanding the three secrets that Tuelins and humans are searching for. Only when finding the truth of those three things will Tuelins and humans become enlightened beings. At that time, the tuolin can transform the yin and yang embryo into a perfect energy filter. Only then is there immortality, nirvana, peace, and freedom. To thoroughly understand the three secrets, you must understand the secret information inside the smallest energy particle and its movement mechanism. To achieve such enlightened wisdom, combining the theory of universal truth and the knowledge of the smallest energy particle will solve that problem. The theory of the truth of the universe is valuable instruction for people to understand the smallest energy particle to all things in and outside the universe. Besides, the entire secret and truth of the smallest energy particle is the norm, the most accurate standard to help us understand all three secrets that humans and intelligence are searching for. We must think in the following order to easily understand this special enlightened knowledge. That is a unique and magical way of thinking, different from everything you have ever learned. As follows. 1. Step 1. Standardize the truth of the universe into the smallest energy particles. Standardization here is to reduce all people, tuolins, things, events, and phenomena in life and the universe into the smallest energy particles. Next, analyze the nature of information and the movement mechanisms through the smallest energy particles. Why is it necessary to standardize all things in and out of the universe into energy particles to understand the three secrets? Because all things, events, phenomena, people, and tuolins in the universe are formed from the smallest particles of energy. The secret information in the smallest particle's intellectual wave code defines the particle's function and mission. As they undergo continuous production to form larger structures, they operate according to the informational conventions of the intellectual wave code. The mechanisms of sustainable or destructive transformation are also created from the secret of the intellectual wave code. From when humans were formed until now, everyone has only searched for excellent or bad manifestations, then found ways to eliminate bad expressions and follow good ones. In contrast, they do not search and cannot understand the ultimate secret of those manifestations. All the expressions and natures of all things in and outside the universe and of the smallest energy particles are determined by the quality and amount of information inside the smallest particle and form a movement mechanism. Therefore, decoding to understand the nature of data inside the smallest energy particle is the key to opening all the secret doors that tuolins and humans are searching for. The truth of the universe is the nature of fact, of the information that exists inside and outside of the smallest energy particle to all matter inside and outside the universe. From the intellectual wave code, the smallest energy particles are created, and from those energy particles, the physical structures that make up all things in the universe are created through connection and production. Material structures with yin and yang energy embryos inside continue to produce intellectual wave code fibers to form the smallest energy particles. That constant movement helps everything in the universe to develop more and more. That helps us standardize all things, including humans, animals, all species, and tuolins in the universe, into the smallest energy particles. Because everything is born from the yin and yang embryo, when the yin and yang embryo is formed from the connection between a negative energy particle and the smallest positive energy particle, they will move in the mechanism of producing and connecting the smallest energy particles. That process causes humans to be formed and developed, the tuolins to create and grow, including animals and everything. Events are also particles of energy. That is obvious and the truth of all things in the universe. That is when humans interact with each other, animals interact with each other, tuolins interact with each other, or between them interact with each other. The smallest energy particles will be produced in their yin and yang embryos. They make the smallest particles of energy because they absorb and transmit information to each other during interactions. When the process of interaction and action absorbs enough information, energy particles will be produced from the yin and yang embryo. Those energy particles store the informational nature of each subject's internal and external environment that interacts and makes it. That's why it's important to standardize things into energy particles. The phenomenon must also be standardized into the smallest energy particle. The phenomenon is similar to human, animal, and tuolins interactions. Those are groups of energies that react with each other or abide in each other as the soul of complex matter abides in simple matter and the tuolin resides in the human body. This process creates interacting phenomena and produces the smallest energy particles for each type of matter participating in that interaction and reaction. That is also why it is necessary to normalize the phenomenon into the smallest energy particle. Everything, events, and phenomena are neither created nor destroyed by themselves. It depends on cause and effect. Creation and destruction are all reaction and interaction processes from the smallest energy particles to all matter in and outside the universe. The process of producing particles and linking in the direction of decay or sustainability is the cause and effect of each subject. You must understand more deeply that cause and effect is the smallest energy particle. When subjects practice the transformation mechanism, whether sustainable or decaying, new energy particles are produced and then linked to become new structures that are stable or decayed. Therefore, whether they are born or destroyed, they are all the smallest energy particles. The suffering of all things, tuolins, and people does not come or go by itself. It is all cause and effect. The agony of all things is standardized into the suffering of the smallest energy particle when they encode incorrectly or lack accurate information within. Then there will be an information disorder reaction, and they will practice the mechanism of destructive transformation. Suffering ends when the information stored is accurate and comprehensive. Then we practice the mechanism of sustainable change. When it becomes stable, grief will end. Please standardize all events, phenomena, all things, yourself, others, and tuolins into energy particles when you want to understand yourself, others, and all things. That is the first step in building a unique, enlightened mindset of combining the knowledge of the two truths with the wisdom of the smallest energy particle. 2. Step 2. Discover the secret information inside the smallest energy particle. In discovering and decoding the inner secrets of the smallest energy particles and their transformation mechanism, you will thoroughly understand the three secrets of everything in and out of the universe. For the process of discovery and decoding to be successful and to gain a thorough understanding, you always standardize yourself, everyone, the tuolins, and all things in and outside the universe into the smallest energy particles. This process is not only in this lesson, but also covers all other lessons in the knowledge of the two truths. Please look closely at the image that simulates the knowledge of the truth of the universe with the smallest energy particle. Next, you remember the images and words that Nalas Nalanda said to the tuolins at the conference, unifying the practicing path of tuolins in human form in the human world. You remember the image of snakes slithering into a plate of white powder, and they hid inside it. The image of a big snake slithering into the bushes near where Nalas Nalanda sat, then of a small snake slithering behind into the bushes. Next came his words, "To save the tuolins and the universe, I will use the toxin to activate the toxin." After that, you remembered his 4 teachings during the conference gathering Humanity. It helps you understand that the scenarios of human interaction with animals and tuolins in the human world through the 4 forms of human life are significant. It is the magical key for tuolins and humans to seek and understand the 3 secrets successfully. Now, you relax before entering the journey of decoding the information secrets of the smallest energy particles and decoding yourself, others, and everything. You will also understand your past, present, and future and everything. To understand all 3 secrets, you first need to know that if you want to understand yourself, you must understand others and everything around you. On the contrary, if you're going to understand others and things around you, you must understand yourself. These 2 things always go together. They cannot be separated. Why? Because other people themselves are a mirror and an external environment. Any object itself is a mirror and an external environment. Yourself is a mirror and an internal environment. Within the energy particle is the internal environment, and everything outside each energy particle is the external environment. Interaction between matter, people, and tuolins with each other will help each person see the manifestations of each other, themselves, and all things. The expressions are the inner nature of each energy particle. The nature of the information encoded inside defines its functions and tasks. We consider ourselves a mirror so we can see ourselves, consider others as a mirror so we can see ourselves and them, and consider all things as mirrors so we can see ourselves and them. That creates magic in decoding the secrets of everything, ourselves, and everyone. Please look at points A and B in the image of the smallest energy particle. That is the external environment, including the negative and positive environments. These two environments blend and exist together. We need to interact with each environment to understand its manifestations and nature. In the outside environment, it corresponds to the image of a huge poisonous snake and a small poisonous snake slithering into the bushes to hide. You can't recognize them if you don't go into the bushes to look for them. Continue to look at points A and B inside the energy particle. It is the negative and positive environment inside each energy particle. It is goodness and poison inside. That is the image of poisonous snakes slithering into a plate of white powder and hiding inside. No one can see them. It means no one outside can see the toxins and goodness inside the particle. It cannot see it either. Tuolins and humans cannot also see themselves. What will happen next so that the excellent and toxic values of the internal and external environments can emerge? Those are the reactions in different environments. For tuolins, it is the human environment. This environment gives them countless interactive scenarios in the four forms of life to help them understand themselves, others, and everything. That is the priceless value of the human incarnation journey of tuolins in the human world. And now you will accompany the analysis of the truth of the universe through the smallest energy particle. As follows. The smallest energy particle is not created by itself. For the smallest particle of energy to be born, the entity that made it must go through a highly complicated journey. The subject that produces the smallest energy particles is all physical structures with the original yin and yang embryo inside, including humans, animals, tuolins, and everything. As follows. The process of acquiring information. The subject must go through a journey of interacting and reacting with other subjects in the external environment. The external environment includes negative and positive environments. The environment is the appearance of energy particles, all kinds of matter, people, animals, tuolin, and everything. The external environment includes sounds, languages, ideologies, phenomena, and interactive actions. The subject's interaction process with the external environment creates a result called information collected from the outside. That external information is absorbed by point 1. In the yin particle of the original yin-yang embryo inside the subject. The root negative particle performs the information acquisition process because that is its function and task. The positive energy particles in the original yin and yang embryo support the analysis and selection of absorbed information. Next, the subject appears to have the idea of converting the collected information into action. When the subject's interaction process has absorbed an amount of data accumulated at point 1 of the negative energy particle in the original yin and yang embryo, the positive energy particle in the yin and yang embryo begins to perform its function, to analyze the external information that has accumulated at point 1 of the yin particle. The decoding and encoding of information occur at the vibration wave code of the two original negative and positive particles. The vibration wave code segment is from point 1 to point 2. This process is stressful, causing information conflicts between the original positive and negative particles. It is the process of comparing the internal information of yin and yang particles in the original embryo with the external data absorbed at point number 1, and the interaction process is ongoing. The information inside the two original yin and yang particles will conflict with each other to accept the reception of what kind of outside information is allowed to exist in them. This process stimulates the information values that have or have not been activated in the two intellectual wave code strands of the original yin and yang embryo to be released. This process results in the vibrating waves in both the original positive and negative particles' intellectual wave code vibrating to retain new information from the outside them. Next, at point number 2, the ideological point of the intellectual wave code thread in the negative particle or both the original positive and negative particles vibrate. It then forms a new ideology, combining its new and old information. At this stage, if the old ideology of the original negative particle wins, only the new negative particle will be produced from the intellectual wave code of the original negative particle. If the yang particle's original ideology wins, the new yin, yang, and neutral particles are produced from the original yin-yang embryo. The action process produces energy particles. It is the segment from point 2 to point 3 in the intellectual wave code. After creating the ideology, the subject performs interactive actions with other things, other people, animals, or toolings. At the end of the interaction, new strands of intellectual wave code are copied from the two original strands of intellectual wave code of the yin and yang embryo. Sometimes it's just a negative intellectual wave code or full negative, positive, and neutral intelligence wave codes. The result depends on decoding and creating the ideology of the original yin and yang embryo. The smallest particle of energy does not disappear on its own. After the energy particle is generated by the interaction and information reaction process between the internal and external environment, it depends on what types of energy particles are produced, and they have different transformation mechanisms. From there, we will see their transformation. As follows: if the toxins of the original negative particle win, it will aggregate into a harmful ideology and produce a negative particle. Only negative particles are made, while the subject does not have positive particles. From here, the entity and the born particles will create a transformation mechanism in the direction of decay and destruction. If the original positive particle's accurate information can control the negative particle's toxicity, positive and neutral particles will be produced, and the subject will also have enough negative particles to become a more sustainable structure according to the sustainable transformation mechanism. Thus, the birth and death of the smallest energy particle to all things in the universe result from information reactions between the internal and external environment. The victory of one of the two ideologies within the original yin and yang embryo will determine the subject's sustainable or destructive transformation. The suffering of the smallest particle of energy does not come by itself. It does not go by itself. It is all due to itself. Why is there suffering in energy particles? It is the information conflict of the smallest energy particle with outside information. When the subject's yin and yang embryo interact with any external data, whether negative or positive, the original information within the two intellectual wave code strands of the yin and yang embryo will react when they have similarities in information value. When negative data from the outside environment is absorbed, the harmful data in the original negative particle will vibrate and connect with the toxic information outside. They will bond tightly together to control the original positive particle. If successful, they will create negative energy particles after the subject's action ends. That is the mechanism that leads to the destruction of the entity. On the contrary, when the entity absorbs positive information, the accurate data of the positive particle will closely link to producing positive energy particles if it overcomes the obstruction from the toxins of the negative energy particles. Besides, the toxic process of the external environment and the toxins of the internal circumstance interact and activate each other to cause suffering for the subject. The struggle between the information of the two yin and yang particles in the original embryo causes suffering if they practice the mechanism of transformation, decay, and destruction. The suffering does not go away on its own. To avoid being decomposed and destroyed by negative ideologies and the destructive transformation mechanism, The information in the positive energy particle must have the power of truth in both quantity and quality to control and destroy the harmful information of the original negative particle. After that, the subject must create a positive ideology and practice generating positive energy particles, a sustainable transformation mechanism. Then each agony will be freed from the poison of negative energy particles. The suffering or liberation from suffering all comes from within each subject. That is the nature of the information within the intellectual wave code of the original yin and yang embryo. Please look at the vibrational wave code, including negative and positive extremes. The picture depicts the smallest energy particle with the truth of the universe as a single particle, not a yin and yang embryo. It is a positive energy particle used to describe you. You can see that in that positive particle's vibrational wave codes, there are positive and negative information values. Each stored information value is a secret that has been encoded due to the information reaction that the subject that created it made. Those information values are only revealed when they interact with the external environment that is similar information to their nature. Now, you continue to relax. Don't try to force yourself to understand what is analyzed in this lesson the first time you study and listen to it. To fully understand, you need to learn the following tasks. Each class will be a key among the keys to open the door to understanding the 3 secrets that humans and Tuolins are searching for. When you finish studying this lesson, reread it and listen to it many times. Then, you release the truth of the universe in the smallest particle of energy to become yourself. It means that you are a subject with a yin and yang embryo, and the universal truth of the production of energy particles in this lesson is the universal truth of your life. Whether you have produced negative or positive particles, try to understand them. You will continue to do the same thing as today in the lesson on the truth of enlightenment with the smallest particle of energy.